So welcome everybody to the last Entuity Tech Talk of 2017. My name's Matt Tong, Systems Engineer at Entuity, and also with me today is my colleague Paresh Mistry, also a Systems Engineer at Entuity. We're going to be your hosts for the next 30 minutes or so. Tech Talks, as most of you know, are designed for our customers and technical members of our authorized partner community. These sessions are recorded and are available on demand from the Entuity YouTube Center. They are a great resource for learning more about the product or reviewing features you may be interested in implementing. Just a few housekeeping items before we get into today's content. The call is on mute mode to eliminate any outside noise. Feel free to ask questions at any time via the chat panel on the right-hand side. We will allocate time at the end to take questions that have been posted. So let's get started. Today we will be using Entuity 16.5, our latest release, with the IFAP or IFA Premium module enabled. If you have any questions on this release, please don't hesitate to contact your Entuity system engineer. We're all more than happy to discuss the new contents, from the BMC dashboard integration to all of the new enhancements that make monitoring your network more efficient and effective. Today's Tech Talk is all about IFAP and Flow. We'll show you a number of examples on how to get more value from Entuity and your network using NetFlow, and hopefully we'll give you all some ideas on how you can really harness the power of Intuity's Flow features. But before we get started today, we'd like to ask you all a couple of questions. If you look to the right of the WebEx panel in a minute, you should see a new box appear called Poll. We're interested to know two things from the audience today before we dive in. First question is, are you currently using NetFlow in your environment? And second, if you are, do you have Intuity's Premium module enabled or just the standard IFA? If you don't know, that's fine too. Just select Don't Know from the answers. So I'll wait a short while. I think we've got about 30 seconds on the timer once it appears for everybody to vote.
Okay, it looks like 50% of the folks online are currently using NetFlow. And then as far as the actual product, more people are using NetFlow Premium.
Oh, that's good. That's great. So about 50% of people on the call aren't using NetFlow. So hopefully we'll give you all some ideas on the power of NetFlow and where we can really assist you in your network monitoring activities. And for those of you who are not using IFA Premium, then hopefully we'll cover off some of the benefits of that. So it might interest you to have a look at that. So now I'm just briefly going to introduce Flow as a concept. We've got some people on the call who aren't using NetFlow at the moment. It might be reasons behind that. Might be that you're not entirely sure on the benefits of Flow. So we're going to talk through a few of these. NetFlow is a type of flow and the most commonly seen and used. NetFlow was developed and introduced to the market by Cisco, initially as a native technology for their own routers. Over time, other vendors either adopted NetFlow or developed their own flow-like technology like JFlow for Juniper or NetStream for HP. But they all achieve the same thing and act in a similar fashion. Now, unlike SNMP polling, Flow is sent to a collector, or in our case, Entuity. And you can see on the diagram on the right-hand side, this NetFlow exporter with the router diagram is sending its flow packets to a NetFlow collector, or in our case, Entuity. It differs to SNMP because SNMP, we are requesting data from devices and we receive that information back. But Flow is in real time sending its packets from a device to the NetFlow collector where it is stored and it can be queried for analysis. Now we'll talk a bit on the next few slides about the benefits of Flow over and above SNMP data and how we can really harness the power of that. So specifically in an Entuity world, let's just cover off the two different levels of IFA, or our Entuity Integrated Flow Analyser. Entuity IFA, the base version, is included in the base license for all customers. So every customer, everybody using the product should have Entuity IFA available for you to use. It's like a Flow Lite module. It'll give you information on top applications, talkers, listeners, and even details about QoS class traffic. So it makes it ideal for insight and also adequate for simple troubleshooting tasks. But we have a premium module of this as well, and that's what we're looking at today. IFA Premium gives you, over and above IFA, top conversations, 1-minute granularity as opposed to the standard 5-minute granularity. Gives you the ability to create your own custom breakdowns, adjust your data retention settings, and this obviously allows you to then store as much data as you want to, as long as you've got the capacity for that. There's a one-off site-wide cost for IFAP. We've kept it simple for our customers to upgrade to this module, for those of you on IFA, and we allow unlimited use for your site. So if you're interested, just contact your Entuity sales rep or drop me a pressure note and we'll put you in touch with the right person. So just to sort of give a brief overview of Intuity's IFA and IFAP, some of you aren't using flow monitoring, so I'm going to give you a quick look at what it looks like. So I've brought up my Entuity demo system, and we can get at the flow information in a couple of different places. You can either browse to a device and then to an interface on that device if you just want to look at specific flow information from a particular interface. Alternatively, you can go to the flows menu from the top level. This presents me with a couple of options. I'm allowed to choose a device. Now these are 3 devices that are sending their flow packets to my Entuity system. I've got more than 3 devices on this network, but these are the only 3 that have been configured to send their flow packets to Entuity. I'm going to select HQ01. I'm then allowed to choose the amount of data that I want to view. And you'll notice these grayed out sections at the top. That's the granularity of the samples. So for 1-minute samples, the default is that it's going to show me the last 30 minutes of data. If I want to look at hourly samples, I can choose from either the last 4 hours, 8 hours, 24 hours. Or if I want to look at daily samples, show me everything that the database has got inside. We're going to go to the finest granularity, 30 minutes. You can also, of course, choose a time period. So if you don't want to look at a previous amount of data, you can choose a from and to. If, for example, you wanted to look at a particular hour yesterday when there was a problem, you want to go back in history and have a look at what was going on between specific time periods, you can do that as well. Next, you get a breakdown. Breakdowns are going to show me the top offenders or the top talkers, top listeners, the top sources of traffic. And what I can choose from here is top conversations. Now remember, this is a IFA premium only breakdown, top conversations, which will show me endpoints that are traversing back and forth traffic. Also, I've got a number of different breakdowns from top ports, top hosts, top listeners, top talkers, so the senders and receivers of traffic. I won't talk through all of these, but I'm going to go into top conversations, just to give you a look at what that looks like. You can also add breakdowns. We'll touch a little bit on that later on. And then the last drop down is how many of these data points do I want to plot? The default is 5. So I'm going to look at the top 5 conversations that is going through HQ01. So it automatically plots me a stacked area style chart. This can be changed with a simple drop down at the top, chart style. I can change that to a bar chart, a pie chart, but I'll leave it on the historical view for now. So remember, I chose the 1-minute granularity, so this is the last 30 minutes server time. And then down the bottom, I can see the actual conversations themselves. And at the top, I see the busiest. They're all quite similar on my demo system. This one at the top it shows me the amount of total traffic in bytes over the last 30 minutes, the average BPS, and the percentage of capacity, if you like, that conversation is using. What I can do if I want to know more details about this one at the top is I can filter on that selected item, and it builds a filter up at the top of this screen. I'm now looking at just that conversation going through this router for the last 30 minutes. If I wanted to perhaps investigate what application this conversation is, then I can use my modify breakdown options. We get this menu that we saw at the start. I could change that now to top applications. The filter retains, so the filter stays at the top. And now, because I've only got one application for this conversation, it's all screencast traffic. So very quickly I've been able to learn who's the top conversation going through this router and what type of traffic is it. You can, once you've performed your analysis, I'll just remove that filter for now. Once you've performed your analysis, and it's something you want to share with other members of your team, then you've got a print as PDF link down at the bottom. You've also got a print as HTML so that you can share that analysis. And also using Intuity's custom dashboard builder, you can incorporate this information into a custom dashboard. Okay, so now I'm going to hand over to Paresh, who's going to take us through the next couple of slides.
Thanks, Matt. So just a few more slides, and then I've got a demonstration of a few other value use cases of Flow and IFAP. So first thing I just want to touch upon is the importance of NetFlow over DPI, Deep Packet Inspection. So often, especially in the last year or two, in conversations I've been having with prospects and customers, I get excuse me, asked about DPI capability. What I'd like to do is first explore the use of Flow and the benefits that the top-down approach across your whole network can bring using IFAP initially. There's room for both of these features within your environment, and very much the analogy I give is that flow traffic is very much like telephone conversations throughout the day. You can keep monitoring them all, give you a high-level view of what's going on, and that's very important. And then you can go down into a specific conversation to look at DPI. So I always think it's worth considering NetFlow or flow analysis as a first step to looking into traffic categorization. So with that in mind, let's move into why. Let's get my slides to work. Let's look into some more use cases of flow traffic. Firstly, why it's becoming more important to categorize IP traffic these days in terms of monitoring your network availability and performance, and then some use cases of how flow traffic monitoring and analytics can help in various ways to improve your network availability. So of course, as we all know, the internet is becoming more and more used a lot more within businesses. Applications and critical business applications are becoming more hungry. There's a move towards unified comms in a lot of large organizations to save money. And all this does require you to start looking at IP categorization and traffic analysis. None of this is really provided by standard SNMP. This is where the whole area of flow comes in. And so by monitoring IP traffic flows, what do you get? Firstly, it enables you to do resource alignment, ensure the right network configuration and bandwidth are used throughout your network. It helps IT determine the right prioritization for quality of service. So again, majority of customers we speak today have some sort of QoS within their environment, and again, to understand exactly what's there, they do require some kind of IP traffic analysis. As Matt's already gone through with his overview, with all the filters and that are available within the IFAP product, it does really allow you to help with troubleshooting bandwidth issues, figuring out what conversation causing the problem, what are the top talkers, any specific application that's taking up too much bandwidth, etc., etc. More so, at the higher level, the top-down approach, it also gives you and determines bandwidth patterns and helps with capacity planning. Again, a much more of a proactive approach. And finally, it also can help with In the world of network security, of course, if you see abnormal network traffic behavior within your network, it can also help detect denial of service attacks within your network. Taking that a step further, and some of the value benefits just mentioned, some of the ones mentioned here are actually from our own customers that we've talked to throughout our business around the world. We've had customers who are going to spend money on investing on a new upgrade of a link, and then utilizing Flow, they're able to identify the applications causing congestion and take appropriate change via a usage policy to reduce the amount of traffic. So again, many dollar savings versus just upgrading the link. Linked with that is another example of a customer who introduced a new backup software globally, starting off in the UK. What he didn't realize is how much traffic that would initially take up, as the whole machines for everybody had to be initially backed up before incremental backup started. And again, Flow was very quick to pick that up, and based on that, what happened, rather than increasing bandwidth or whatever, all the company did was introduce a incremental start policy. So different regions did the backup at different periods throughout two or 3 months, rather than everybody doing it from day one. As mentioned previously, of course, Flow is very helpful with QoS, and again, having Flow allows you to look and accurately configure QoS settings, rather than just based on theory or what you think is required within your network. One of our, well, not one, just a few of our customers actually use it for new applications that come into the organization. They use the application traffic to determine how much it's taking up, and then appropriate some cost to that to help with internal cross-charging. And finally, one of the unique features that Entuity provides is with our SurePath module. It's one of the ones I want to demo. Is we're able to take top conversations and actually understand what path that traffic is taking across your network in near real time, and really tell you what other devices and links are affected, and ultimately what other services may be affected by the increase of traffic across a particular link, which will come up as a high conversation within Flow. So with that in mind, I'll take you through some demonstrations. There's 2 demonstrations I would like to go through. One kind of shows you how Flow can be used to pick up a denial of service attack, where you get a large number of source hitting one destination, and an abnormal amount of sources coming in, and that could perhaps be a denial of service attack. The second is to, again, talk around the SurePath integration that allows us to integrate our Flow traffic within SurePath. Before I go into that, the first thing I would like to do is let's share my screen. The first thing I would like to discuss is, or mention, is the 1-minute polling that Matt has mentioned about IFAP. Just to make you aware, it's not there by default. So even if you have IFAP today, you need to ensure that within the Entuity.cfg file, which I'm sure all the admins on the call of Entuity have used and looked at before, there is a section called Flow where you need to include this line in red. So by having this line, you'll see within the UI the ability to look at 1-minute polling. That's there for 30 minutes. And then of course you see all the other roll-ups that we have as well, 5-minute polling, etc., etc. And this is also where you can change the retention rates as well for the amount of data you're keeping for the different poll rates. So that's something I've come across by visiting some customers who have IFAP, and they haven't quite realized that they need to enable the 1-minute polling. So that's just a useful tip. Now going into the demonstration, let's go into flows at the top level. So I'm going to a device here, And what I want to look at here is, for example, you have different breakdowns, and you've got the ability to add a new breakdown and create your own custom breakdowns based on both the count that you select here and what you want to cross-reference it against along the left-hand side. So what I want to do here, and I've done one previously, is a DOS one. So I'll bring that up and I'll just edit to show what I've actually put in it. So I've put the count to be the source, and it's cross-referenced against destination. So the idea here is that this will bring up all devices and how many sources are talking to it. So let's do that for the last 2 hours, and just do the top 5, and then let's change the source count to the top. So you can see here that a source count of 108 different sources are hitting this destination here. Now this is a demo environment, but in the real world, you often see a normal amount of source counts appearing here into the thousands or tens of thousands, a lot more than devices or machines you actually have within your organization. That could be a potential DOS attack. So you're able to pick that up by the source count, and you're able to go in further. If I filter on the selected item, you'll then also be able to perhaps look at it from a perspective of what applications are also traversing that traffic at the time. So again, if you see some particular traffic that's a bit or something that shouldn't be there, then again this will detect that here. Okay, so that's the ability of Flow to help with DOS, denial of service. The other option I want to go into is, if I go back to modify breakdowns, and let's look at the last 30 minutes or so of conversations. So let's make it one hour. Okay, in fact, let's make that a bit longer. Let's make it 2 hours. That's what I wanted to show you. So you can see here that everything's been ticking away here in the UK quite well until about 4:15, and then suddenly you see a very large increase in traffic volume happening between Krypton and New 2610. It's now coming up to 25% of the bandwidth, and you can see it increasing, and that's quite a bit. So that's very helpful straight away. You can go and look into that conversation as before, as I've shown you, and as Matt previously showed you, you can drill down and do filtering, etc. But one of the unique features that Entuity allows you to do is, with integration with our path analysis module, SurePath, you're able to right-click on here and create a path. And then here I can say, hi traffic. This is a description from Krypton. I can spell. And I won't do a schedule for discovery. Let's just create it now. And so that path has been created right now, straight away. While I go to the path, just to make you all aware that within 16.5 we actually give the SurePath module for free, including 5 paths as an introductory look at the product. So now if I actually go to path summary, we should see that path I've just created. So there you are, 10.44.217 all the way through to 1.1.1 to 1.36. If I click on that path, it's showing me that path of that conversation from Krypton all the way through to New 2610. So straight away, you've automatically picked up what other devices and links across that network are affected by that 26% of traffic. So a quarter of your traffic is going across this link. Again, with the other features of Entuity that you would be aware of, I've heard in other tech talks, you can put this into a service. C560 could be part of another business service. It's also showing you where the biggest bottleneck is across the link, which is with this triangle here. So again, this gives you 100% visibility at high conversation traffic happening and exactly what path that traffic is traversing across your network. And so that again gives you additional visibility that generally a lot of solutions will not provide. Okay, So they're the two demonstrations, and hope you can see some value in utilizing that within your own network. Let me now hand over back to Matt.
Fresh, that's great. So this slide, we just want to bring to your attention a couple of helpful links if you're interested in learning more about NetFlow, Intuity's IFA and IFAP capabilities. Within your installation of Entuity from the web UI, you have all of the help contents available for you. Within the help contents menu from the top of your user interface, you can go through and either search in there for flow. That's going to give you all of the entries in there relevant to flow. You can also have a look under the Get Started section, Key Features, Integrated Flow Analyser. Flow information is also in the User and System Administrator Guide, the PDF, chapters 25 to 26. And of course, tech talks like this one are all on YouTube, so that you can go back and rewatch and learn a bit more about particular features. So Pat, do we have any questions in the chat panel?
Yes, Matt, we have one, and it is there a way IFA can alert on disallowed traffic if there is a particular application that is not allowed on my network?
That's a very good question and a very timely one. With the next release of Intuity, which is coming out next year, 2018, we are introducing support for NBAR, or network-based application recognition. It's a flow-like technology, which again the devices will provide us information about conversations that are traversing through them. And one of the features of NBAR is that it will tell us if something is blacklisted, or if a particular application is being used which shouldn't be. With our next release, Intuity have incorporated these features. So if we notice that a blacklisted application is out there on a device or is being used, then we can raise an alert on that. So not currently, not with Flow, but with new technology that we're bringing in, that will be there next year. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yep, thanks, Matt, and that's it.
Wonderful. Okay, so any other questions, then feel free to reach out to Paresh or myself. We'll finish off with, place our emails back up on the WebEx at the end. So just a quick reminder for anybody that hasn't yet signed up. The Intuity Training Academy is available for all of your information and reference. It's on our website. If you go to the intuity.com homepage, look for the support menu up the top. It will then take you to a login page. You can either log in if you've already got a login, an account. If not, you can create an account. So have a look at the Training Academy. There's lots of good videos on there so that you can get more value from your Intuity installation. And that's available for all of our customers and partners. So just to wrap up, we're going to send all of you a video link of today's presentation so that you can rewatch. If you have any questions about today's content or would like a personal demonstration of any of the features that we've spoken about today, just contact your Intuity systems engineer. And also keep an eye out for the 2018 Tech Talk schedule. We will be announcing this in January of next year.
Hey Matt, excuse me, we had one last question come in if you want to take it.
Oh, did we?
Yep. Have you measured the amount of extra bandwidth that is taken up with NetFlow enabled?
It's a tricky question to answer because it depends very much on how much flow is coming from your device. So it's not something that we control or know much about, to be honest with you. The device will send its flow packets to us. So using Flow itself, you could even track that for yourself and have a look at how much extra bandwidth that traffic is using up.
Yeah, and also just as Paresh, also I guess over the years, I said if you asked me that question about 10 years ago or when NetFlow first came on the the market, I would have stayed well clear of it. It was very hungry. I think it's a lot more efficient these days, and it's definitely worth, as Matt says, utilizing the Intuity product itself to measure it. It very much depends on where you enable flow. There's lots of best practice within Cisco guides to explain that certain routers will have switches have where the core ones where everything's coming in and out, or maybe the better ones to do, because you get all the information from one place, and also how much flow traffic you need to measure and monitor. That these all play a part. Some of the metrics I've worked on previous customers, it's not as high as it used to be. So it's actually, we see a lot more organizations actually utilizing this now for, I guess, a lot of the reasons we've explained on this tech talk. So I hope that kind of helps with some kind of guidelines.
And also, as a follow-up to that question, in terms of impact on the database, was the second part of that question. This, again, depends. It depends on the amount of flow that we're receiving, and also on the retention settings that you've put in place. With Flow Premium, as we've mentioned, you can adjust these retention settings. If you look in our user and system administrator guide, and if you even search for flow in the help menu, as we've already mentioned, there is a guide on there for the amount of flows per second, how much storage that may well take up on your Intuity system. So all of that information should be on the Intuity help for you. So hopefully that's answered your question. So thanks, Pat, for that catch. I missed that second question. And just leaves me to say thank you to everybody for attending today, taking the time to join us. And we hope to see you all in the new year for another schedule of Intuity Tech Talks. Best wishes from all of us for a wonderful holiday season. Thank you all.